You were on In Living Color. That's when I know we talked about Living Single, but you were also on Living Color,
I did
which
the very first season. Let me say this to you. That was the hardest audition I had ever been on because Keenan wanted comedians who could also do characters.
Word.
So you had to do, I did stand-up at Caroline's.
Did you
I know
do
you know
Roots?
Caroline. No. I did, absolutely. I did everything.
Yeah.
I did everything I had. I had a beauty pageant bit where I did the 5 semi-finalists of the Miss America pageant.
Okay.
And that was a way for me to do all of my characters. So I had Miss New York, I had Miss New Jersey, I had Miss Beverly Hills. And so that was a way for me to show I could do all these characters. So the way you had to audition was first you did stand-up, and then the next day you may have been invited to go do improv.
Right.
And so it was a 2-day audition, and then he flew people out to LA, and then you had to audition against all the other people. It was the most grueling and the most amazing audition
But
ever.
you got it.
Because I got it.
And
And
so-
I did the first season.
Did you do like improv training or anything? It was all of
I
just
had
you.
done just enough improv training for me to get past that audition. And what's interesting is that my other fellow comedians had never done it. We as comics are used to standing
Right.
on a stage
I mean, that's still
solo.
now, yeah.
So for somebody to throw something at you and you have to go, yes, and.
Yeah.
And so it was really weird.
It's
I was like, just
yeah,
work with
stand-up
me
is
here.
like, I don't really want to know what you think.
Thank
That's
you,
my
thank
thoughts.
you.
You know?
But I had done a little bit of training, and I had also, I loved talking to the audience, and so I'm open to playing in that way. And so I was able to help, in my mind anyway, guide the audition for all of us. Like,
Yeah.
guys, we got to get along and do this together, because he's
Right.
looking to see that if
We
we
can-
play well with others.
What did that show teach you?
I'll tell you what it taught me. You want to know what it really taught me, honestly? That not everything is going to turn out the way you think it's going to turn out. Because I was actually released after the first year. I was released. And it was really difficult at first. And then I booked a Living Single shortly thereafter, and then everything was better,
Yeah,
bigger, stronger.
yeah.
Like there was, here's what I learned, that sketch comedy shows are very competitive. It's a highly competitive, and if you talk to anybody who's ever done Mad TV, SNL, all those shows,
Yeah.
they're highly competitive
and
environments.
stressful.
And very.
I know some people that go on to SNL and a
Oh.
season later they look like
Yeah.
Barack after his, his 4
it's-
years.
It is a war zone, because you're
Yeah.
constantly having to perform
Be
for
on
the boss and be on.
more than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, you have to compete to get your material on. So the writers are competing with each other, the performers are competing with each other.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, maybe Jim Carrey didn't have to compete because he was one of a kind.
Yeah, yeah.
And certainly the Wayans didn't have to compete because it was their show.
Yeah.
But there was a strong competition. I had a talk with Tommy Davidson just the other day. We were on a flight together, and I didn't know he was feeling it too. Like, it was a strong competitive experience. I went to Living Single, and it was a cooperative, and so it was very different.
Yeah.
So,
And better.
and better for me.
But that makes me think about, just something you hear a lot in comedy, and just an entertainment period, that each experience, whether it never works out how you think it is, and all those things always lead to where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. And I think that also comes with, doing the spiritual growth piece of it. 'Cause
True.
you will get angry.
Easier said than done, but yes.
Well, you'll get angry, and you'll stay angry if you look at each, because, listen, I just met some kid at an airport. He was like, I keep auditioning and I don't get anything. I'm like, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
The name of the game is you audition and they pick 1 or 2 people. It's a numbers game, and you just have to keep in it and stay good, and just know that one time is going to be your shot.
Do you think that the whole Instagram movement and all that has made people a little impatient? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
and
I
it
think
makes people think that you become famous overnight, and that's not true.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not true. I mean, you can become Instagram famous,
Sure.
but it's what do you do with that
Yes.
fame, and what do you do with that platform
Right.
that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of Instagram famous people who will not be lasting 34 years.
Exactly.
Like
That's
one
what
of
I
us.
say. You famous now.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's more than the fame game. It's the work. To me, it's also, I always respect people who have studied it and studied it's an art form. And it's actually, I have to go here on you. It's actually a healing art form. Laughter, we all know that laughter is the best medicine. We as comedians are actually healers in many ways. Haven't you been on stage and you felt the vibe of the audience, and now they were changed because you performed and you made them.
It's a superpower.
It is a superpower.
I feel like,
and it is to be respected and nurtured in a beautiful way.
I've gotten letters from people. I'm sure you get it. I was going through this, and then I came to your show, or someone just died, and this is the first time I've laughed, and
I've gotten hugs from people saying that when Living Single was on, I was going through a really difficult time, and to turn on and see, and you all made me laugh. It's it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And so to respect that, so I would say to any of my Instagram famous comedians, that's great. Now back it up with something. Back it up with
Stage
studying
time
it.
and
Stage time. Yes,
and yeah.
Yeah.
Living Single. I think I heard about a reboot, or did I make that up?
No, you didn't make it up. Just people are talking about it,
Right.
but I'd love to tell people I've been neither contracted nor contacted.
Now,
So
say
there's a
you were,
conversation.
like, are you into it?
I would absolutely say yes.
What's your vision of where they are now?
Oh gosh, my vision is.
I mean, how these houses prices set up, I believe they're in the same building.
Now we bought the building or something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I saw somebody on Instagram saying, you know, everybody's talking about this reboot. I don't want to see a reboot because in their mind, they live in this perfect place of perfection, and we leave them alone, and it leaves my imagination to decide where they've been. Like, what if we come? So, for example, Sinclair and Overton always said they were going to have twins, and they were going to name them Sincloverton and Overclair. So that means that if we did a reboot, then that absolutely needs to be in the show.
And that makes it a totally different show.
It makes it a totally different show. So I don't know. I just see the growth of everybody, and listen, we're all still friends. And what's funny is that no one will ever admit that we are way closer to our characters than I admit that I am close. So I think we would just be more of the same, and we all look pretty good still. So I just think it would be just. So
you into it is what I'm saying.
I would say yes.
Okay.
I don't. I'll just put it this way. I don't know that everyone would say yes. That's all I'll say. I'm just like, somebody write the lines. Let me just say them and get this check. Let me explain something to you about sitcom. It's not just the check. It's not just the family that you build with the camera and the crew, and like you celebrate births and deaths together and marriages and things. It's the free food. It's plentiful and it's delicious. And by your third season or so, they're cooking whatever you want. So we had a kitchen on the set that was a real kitchen just for us. So my favorite thing is John Hinton would always get what he called pork Fridays, all pork Fridays. All the rest of us weren't even eating
dangerous.
For him, it might not have been. None of us were eating pork anymore, except John. He's like, I want pork on Fridays.
my goodness.
They made him bacon and ribs and whatever he wanted.
Maxine Shaw stay so cut up with all that free food around?
He just had that metabolism. The rest of us did not.